In our last story of our series Footprints of Terror from Pakistan's Northwest, we focused on NGOs who have started to close down their operations in tribal areas. In the last few years, the Taliban have targeted non-government organizations working in areas controlled by them. Just how difficult has it been to be a social worker in these areas? Let's find out. These were images that shocked the world. Taliban flogging women who defied their version of Islamic law. Punishments like these have been the norm in Taliban-controlled areas. But the militants' terror has not scared everyone, at least not Kulsoom. Kulsoom is a social worker focusing on education and help for women. She ventures out to Taliban-infested areas every day for work. One day, while being driven to work, she was kidnapped by militants in Karak near Bannu.
एक ने जो है ड्राइविंग सीट संभाल ली, फिर रास्ते में उन्होंने यही कहा कि आप इस फील्ड में काम ना करें, ये एनजीओ में है, या ये इसका मतलब बेहयाई है, फहाशी पिलाना है। तो वो लोग यही कह रहे थे कि नहीं, यहाँ पे पर्दे का कुछ नहीं इंतजाम नहीं होता, आप मर्दों के साथ काम करती हो, तो ये इस्लाम में इस तरह जायज़ नहीं है। तो मैंने उनसे कहा, इस्लाम में ये भी तो नहीं कि आप किसी को इस तरह तकलीफ दो।
Down for 3 hours, they let Kulsoom go, but kept the driver hostage, demanding money for his release. 25 days later, the militants were paid off by the driver's family and he was set free.
लेकिन फिर उन्होंने मुझे ये पैगाम दिया है अपने ड्राइवर के थ्रू कि आप इनसे कहें कि ये दोबारा भी जा रही है, तो हम इसको वार्न कर रहे हैं कि अगर दोबारा से हमने इनको अगवा किया तो फिर हम इसको नहीं छोड़ेंगे, मार डालेंगे।
But this did not deter Kulsoom. She went back to work on her father's encouragement the very next day.
अगर बंदे का ज़मीर मुतमईन हो कि मैं एक काम कर रही हूँ और वो गलत नहीं है, तो फिर हम वो काम क्यों छोड़ें? दूसरा हमें धमकियां दे रहा है, कुछ वो कर रहा है, हमें हरासा करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, तो फिर वो अपना वो गलत काम जो है वो क्यों नहीं छोड़ रहा? क्योंकि अगर उनका काम सही है तो वो सामने आके क्यों नहीं करती सब कुछ?
Kulsoom's engagement was called off, but she did not flinch in her cause of improving the lives of women of her province. Her NGO has been attacked several times and her colleagues kidnapped. But unfortunately, they are not alone. NGOs have become soft targets for the suspicious Taliban, who proclaim that they are another name for vulgarity and obscenity and so should be wiped out. At least 5 NGO employees were killed last year. Many more were harassed, attacked and kidnapped. Almost all NGOs have pulled out of the tribal areas and some have wound up their operations in the provincial capital, Peshawar. At this government office, the coordinator for the extended program for immunization, which works to eradicate polio, has the same story to tell.
In 2009, we have 48 cases. You can imagine that out of these 48, around about 44 or 45 cases are from those areas where those areas which are inaccessible, like Swat, Bajawad, Mohmand. They were reported from these cases. Now you can imagine that security is the main issue in achieving these goals.
With no government presence in tribal areas, NGOs working for health and education are a lifeline for local communities. It has been 3 years since Kulsoom was kidnapped, but even now she has nightmares of her driver being killed. But there has been a ray of hope in her life. She is soon to be married to a man who supports her work. Beyond this checkpost lie areas that have been hit by the latest fighting between the Pakistan Army and the Taliban militants. The Americans have pledged millions of dollars in order to bring normalcy to these areas. But perhaps all their money cannot buy the spirit of women like Kulsoom, who risk their lives and venture to conflict areas in search for peace. Munize Jahangir in Peshawar for Express 24/7.